What's going on, good people? Brandmaster Martina Britt Yelverton here, and come on into the room, be coachable, teachable, trainable, and post your city and state where you are actually catching this live from. My name again is Brandmaster Martina Britt Yelverton, and I'm truly excited to be here with you guys on today. My daily goal is to brand you, educate you, and to help you get your assets in order. And I haven't been live for a minute, so I'm hoping that you guys will appreciate me coming back into the stream on today and speaking to you guys, because today's topic really is exciting for me, and I'm excited with the guest that I have today joining me on the stream to help me facilitate this information. So hold on to your seats. It's going to be a good one. And I really hope that you guys are available to understand the mindset that we are going to be sharing with you guys on how to invest in people, because this is a perspective that is rarely, if ever, explored. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and bring to the stage with me David Small, my good friend, mentor, coach, and friend, to the stage so that you guys can gather this information. How are you doing on today?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
I am beyond amazing as well. That is so good to hear. I know we've had a few hiccups going on, in our what do you call it? Our stream, our era. I've been out on a back injury for 3 weeks, so I'm excited to be up and sitting in my office. And I know you've gone through a few hiccups, so it's good to see your smiling face on today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. And when we do good work and we do the right work, the enemy always wants to stop us from doing the work. And that's exactly what we've been experiencing. So I'm prayed up, stayed up, and ready to get up here with everybody that's joining us today and share some really great information.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Very, very, very true. So I've titled it, Watch This Live, invest in people. This perspective is rarely, if ever, explored. And when we started talking about it, it really, resonated with me, but it was mind blowing because I began to also even look at my kids and my close friends, and I was able to check off some boxes because I was able to understand them better. And so I know we're not going to get too deep into it today, but I just think we need to talk a little bit about it, because I know I have social media posts out here and I know people are like, what is that? Just stick and stay. I promise you, just stick and stay. You'll be excited about this information. So where do you want to start the discussion?
I at the beginning, right? Let's start at the beginning, because when you and I started really talking about this a while ago, it really struck a chord. I think it really struck a chord with you. This is something that I've been passionate about for going on almost 13 years now. And the truth is, when we boil everything down, that we are the most disconnected, connected society that has ever existed. Mm-hmm. When you think about what we have access to, when you think about what, we can utilize in our day-to-day lives, whether it's personally or professionally, we have become this technologically advanced society. Hence, we are on this platform right now, streaming out to who knows how many different platforms in itself, which is awesome. But we are so disconnected as a society from each other. At some point, we let things get in the way. We let technology kind of overtake our lives, and gone are the days of personal interactions, of communicating with people instead of to people or at people, and building relationships. And I say real relationships, Martina, because this has become the relationship, right? We let this tool kind of drive what we do. We let this tool kind of dictate how we interact with folks, and we hide oftentimes behind social media. That's just become the everybody uses and utilizes these days to communicate, to build relationships, instead of coming out in front of it. The question I would pose to everybody is, in this great technological era that we have, when was the last time you actually had a conversation with someone? And I don't mean by text or DM or an exchange on social media, but when was the last time you picked this up and actually called someone and spoke with them, or went on FaceTime or Google Meet or whatever and actually spoke with them, not professionally, but personally, and just had a dialogue? Oftentimes the answers are, I can't remember, or it was so long ago, I don't remember. We put so much value on the things we use that we've lost the value in this, and actually having personal communication and relationships with people. And that has to change. That has to change. And so I'm excited. If you can't tell, I'm super passionate. My wife is super passionate about this. because it's super important that we reconnect, that we once again become a connected society, and we move away from the reliance of tools and resources, which are great to be able to do, like we're using today. But we get more back in touch and in tune with each other in ways that we've just maybe forgotten or set by the wayside, or maybe just haven't ever done. Because as we think about it, time has eclipsed and escaped us over the decades. I was talking with somebody earlier this morning, and they said, 30 years ago, back in the 90s, and I was like, 30 years ago in the 90s? Wow, that was 30 years ago. Like, where has the time gone? But we've gotten so far away from being able to have personal time, personal interactions with people, that it just isn't the norm anymore. And some people haven't been taught those skills. They haven't been taught those things. They don't feel comfortable doing it. So we want to help turn the tide. We want to help make the shift. And that's what I'm excited to be able to share with you today and have this conversation with you about today.
Absolutely. And that is true. I can't remember, when it wasn't business or it wasn't about an upcoming event, when I've actually just called someone up, and had a conversation, how are you doing, that wasn't related to an event, like I say, or, business or something like that, just to have a conversation. And even though we know it's both a blessing and a curse, that social media, really does make you disconnect, because you're available to pull up someone's stream, you're available to see what they're up to, drop them a message and you keep it going, but that's really truly not, effective communication. Like we say, when you do make that call, when you do reach out to someone, and when you do connect with them, like I said in the quote for, what I have here, Auntie Maya said it better than anybody else, with regards to how you make people feel. They don't, they won't remember what you said. They won't remember, even some of the things that you did for them, but they will remember how you made them feel. So when you pick up the phone and you have that conversation with someone, and you really genuinely check on, them, and find out how they're doing, when they get off that call with you, there's a connection there. And I think, like you say, social media is allowing us to get away from that. And I'm so glad to know that we are now connecting with something that's going to help people, steer people back towards that, especially where we are right now in this current economy. We need those connections.
Well, it's vitally important, right? I think right now where we are, societally, just strip the economy out of it, but just from a societal standpoint, it's never been more important now, I think, that we really understand each other, and that we really are vested in each other, that we really know how to communicate with each other, not to each other or at each other, and that we're engaged in authentic relationships, that we're engaged in building, creating, fostering relationships that we've had in an authentic, genuine manner, and moving away from what has taken over today in the place of many different tools and resources, different platforms, apps, and all that type of stuff. We've got to bring that back. It's now, I think, more important than ever. And I love what you say about that particular quote. It made me think of another quote. And some people attribute it to different people. Some people say Jim Rohn said this. Some people say Zig Ziglar say it. Some people say, lots of other people say it. It's just fact. And I think it rings true even to this day, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
And that is where we've gotten away from, right? We've gotten away from letting people know how much we care. I often think, there's so many groups on different platforms, group messaging on your phone. We got Telegram and WhatsApp and text messaging and all this other stuff. And we oftentimes exchange messages faster than anything else. But when was the last time you actually picked the phone up and talked with that person? Again, not to or at, but with that person. Instead of sending that message, just call them on the phone and say, hey, let's talk. Instead of exchanging messages, let's just talk. Now, on the other end, they might be like, hey.
Guilty.
But that's what we're missing today, right? That's what's gone by the wayside. And I think a lot of that has to do with where this technological advancement over the last couple of decades has taken us, because it's become easier to hide behind things, tools, resources, apps, phones, tablets, computers, even for that matter, than it has to be able to actually make those connections with people. And that's what we have to change. as a coach, as a speaker, as an author, I get hit up daily, 4 or 5 times. People want to sell me all kinds of stuff, right? Hey, I saw your profile. It looks really amazing. You've done some really great work. Let me scale your business for you, right? Like what if I don't need to scale what if my business is already scaled? How would you know? You don't know. You're just automatically pitching something to me, right? You're just trying to cast a wide net and see what you can catch, because we've got it in our heads that, this is a numbers game. And the more numbers I contact, the more numbers I put my stuff out in front of, the more success I'll have. And the truth of the matter is it is not a numbers game. It's a people
Yes.
game, right? It's a people game. And if that person and those people who are just blasting me daily with, I can scale this, you can use our lead generation this, we've got the best course creation with whatever this, if they would just come at me and say, hey, I saw your profile, I'd love to just get to know more about you. Where are you at? What are you doing? How can I learn from you? How can you learn from me? Is this a valuable relationship to invest in? Like, those days are gone because people are in such a hurry these days. We are an on-demand society, again, because of where we've progressed and what we have access to at our fingertips. We have become this on-demand society, and that's the expectation that people have. And that's really what's, kind of plagued us more or less,
Yes.
and stripped away the relationship side of things with folks, and really being able to connect with people and understand people and value each other. We've lost so much value for each other and with each other. It blows my mind.
I like what you said there, that it's not a numbers game, it's a people game. And even, even when you say it that way, I don't like the word game, but I get exactly, where it's going. I think typically in just not necessarily an industry specific, because you hear him, cross industry. There's I think it is Worry that says, go for no. And the further you dig down with us and you get into this platform that we're talking about with us, it almost like it's bad programming when I think about that, because it's not go for no. It's I can say it's go for yes, but more it's go for that connection. Just go for the connection with people. And like we say, and like we've even hashtags, make people matter, because it truly is what is going to serve you and what's going to serve them. But more importantly, is what's going to serve everybody. Because once you give people that feeling, that's empowerment, whether you ever run into them or meet them again. That is such a great piece of empowerment for another person to know that they matter. I was watching Dr. Miles Monroe, a video from him last night, and he gave these 7, 8, 9 different points, and he was talking about what the human being needs. And a lot of it had to do with, attention, a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, all of those different things. But in that list, he said to know that they matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really about making people matter, right? I have been really blessed in my life. And from a professional standpoint, a career standpoint, I have been given great opportunity. I worked for Apple and I worked for Microsoft. And, I think back to the time that I was at both of those, and it was never a numbers game for me. Now, the companies wanted it to be a numbers game. They wanted me to, get in front of as many people as possible, train, educate as many people as possible, and help drive results for as many people as possible. But the reality of it was always about relationships. It was always about being able to build relationships, to establish genuine, authentic connection with people, and really form the foundation of what would become long-term relationships. And let me give you a great example of that. And it really comes down to making people matter. We had an opportunity when I worked for Microsoft back in Las Vegas, with the 6th largest school district in the nation. Could be the 5th, could be the 6th, depending on the day of the week. At that time, they were the 6th largest school district in the nation, Clark County School District. And, we had tried for a very long time to be able to meet with them, to be able to kind of get within, because the end goal was to bring Microsoft into the school district, products and services from them into the school district. And the higher ups, the people who were really driving that initiative from a corporate perspective, were missing the mark, because they weren't going out into the community. They weren't making the people matter that would actually be the end users of the products and services. So I went to a couple of partners of mine, some really great people, Larry Henderson, Juana Malone back there in Vegas, two phenomenal individuals. I mean, just lifelong friends, family for me. And I went to them and said, hey, who do you know that really needs the help? Who can we talk to? Who can we meet with and sit down, get to know them, get to know their school, get to know the children and their families, because that's where the impact is going to be had. And long story short, you know, when I sat down with one school, the founder of the school, the principal, the vice principal, and a few other individuals, they asked me, why are you here? You could go anywhere. Why are you here? And the response was, because you matter. You matter to me. You matter to us. And I want you to know how much you matter. And I want to help make a difference here in your community, with your families, with these children. Let's give them the educational experience that they deserve, not the one that you want or the one that they need, but the one that they actually deserve. And it was like mind-boggling to them that anybody from Microsoft would come to their school, sit down and have this conversation with them. Fast forward 2.5 years later, and we've got senior leadership from Microsoft flying in. We've got leadership from the Clark County School District, all sitting down at the same table in that school with that founder and namesake, with that principal and vice principal. And that turned the tide for everybody, because all of a sudden it became about the relationships we built over a 2-year period, not a number, not how much somebody was going to spend, not how much somebody was going to bring to the table from a financial perspective, but the impact that would be felt by the end users, the most important people that there were. And for that, it was the families and the kids.
Yes.
And putting them first, making them matter, forming genuine connections with them is what changed everything for everybody that was involved at that point in time. And it was remarkable to see happen. And at the end, as we were all leaving and people were getting in cars and going to the airport, flying back and going home and all this other stuff, the namesake of the school pulled me aside and he said, if you had told me 2.5 years ago that this was real, that this was going to happen, I would have laughed. And I really kind of brushed it off. But you made the difference because you put us first. You didn't treat us as a number. You didn't treat us as a goal. You treated us as human beings. And that's really what it's all about. It's about making people matter. It's about helping them understand that they have a place, in forming genuine, authentic connections with them. Because when you do that, everything else changes. And whatever the end goal is that you're trying to get to with them, and it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a personal relationship, if it's a professional relationship, whatever it is, whatever that end goal is for everybody involved, it becomes a byproduct of the relationship. Because when you have that, everything else kind of falls into place. But you got to get there first. And the only way that you can do that is not playing the number game, right? It's being a part of the people game and really helping make people matter.
Yeah, that and even Deborah Johnson commented, genuinely fostered relationships don't sink.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. I think oftentimes we find ourselves today, and I love this analogy, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Yes.
Right? And the truth of the matter is, you can do that as many times as you want. The end result is still going to be the same.
That
right?
ship's still going down.
It's still going to go down. You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, right? But if you change the perspective, if you change the approach, and you really are driven by helping make the other individual or individuals matter, it's completely different. It becomes a completely different outcome. And that ship does not sink. I can tell you, I can testify, I could show you all kinds of proof and documentation from Forbes and Harvard and all these other institutions that have studied what we're talking about, and they all validate it, and they all say it works, and they all say that it absolutely rings true. And so that's what we want to do, is we want to help people embrace this. You know, Karen and I have been living it now for almost 13 years. We can testify to it from a personal standpoint, from a professional standpoint, from a ministry standpoint. I have used this in ministry for over a decade now, and it has changed dynamically relationships in communities like you would not believe. I've used it professionally, as I just shared with you, at Microsoft, at Apple. But I think one of the greatest things we really value is what it's done for our family, what it's done for us as a husband and wife, what it's done for us as the parents of 6 children, the grandparents of 4 children. This has just changed everything for us in how we engage with each other, embrace each other, love each other, continue fostering relationships with each other. I mean, it is such an amazing thing to see, witness, and be a part of. But it's even more amazing to see the results that come from it, that flourish from it, that blossom from it, that grow from it, because it's ongoing, and it keeps you moving ahead in a forward direction that's beneficial for everyone, because you keep focused on the right things instead of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Very much so. I challenge our viewers even to go back and think about, the current relationships that you have, and just, even if you have to grab a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle and write it out so that you can actually see it for what it is. I think about in business, and this is what I mean by I challenge our viewers. If I go back in my lineage of business and I look at the people who I've worked with for years during the entire term, and I think about how we met, how often we are in conversation, outside of the business realm, how much we're in conversation, what circles do we run in together. And if I look at that list compared to some of the people that I'm in business with or that I do work for, that's strictly, a service based, you ask for a request, I fulfill the request, and look at the time frames, I really truly can say that I've been practicing what I'm now being reprogrammed to do. I actually have been practicing that on a very small level. So I'm excited to think about leveling that up. So I challenge people who are watching this to go back through your relationships and just think about, the genuine relationships that you actually do have, and compare that to some of the surface level, even social media relationships that you're engaged with right now at this time, and do a comparison on how you feel about those relationships, and know that, just learning more about this method, how you can make those relationships stronger, and even look at the ones that you may have surface level relationships with, and how you can grow those relationships using this make people matter mindset, because it really is a new mindset. And I really believe that a lot of you are going to find so much more pleasure and so much more, like I say, growth when you invest in people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Deborah just hit the nail on the head right there with what she said, right? She said, contrary to popular beliefs, people buy people, not product or services. We need to get back to the basic caring for each other. Absolutely, Deborah, love
Right?
it. Love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, because you were absolutely right.
Yeah.
I like to call it biology, but I like to take it a step further and actually call it buy-in-ology, because they're not going to do anything unless they are bought into you as the individual, right? And if people pick up on it so fast, they will see it a mile away when you are not genuine, when you are not sincere, when you're blasting messages, right? When you're blasting messages saying, hey, I can scale your business, buy my lead platform, buy my courses, like, you don't even know if I need any of that, first off, but you also don't even know anything about me. Why would I buy anything from you when you're coming at me that way? It's so insincere. You're just looking at me as a dollar sign, not as an individual. And that's what we want to change. We want to change that. So we call it biology. I take it a step further, call it buy-in-ology, because that is really what makes the difference. Is like Trevor said, when people connect with you, are authentic with you, you with them, have a genuine connection, they're bought into you. And at that point, things change. So if you think about the story I shared, that's really what it all came down to, is that, everybody was bought into each other. We were bought into helping get in the boat and all row in the same direction at the same time. So we could get to the end of where we wanted to go for those families and those children, but we were going to impact there in Las Vegas. And so I think it's super important that we don't, keep this to ourselves any longer.
Right.
I got it, Regina. Absolutely. You know me. This is what I do. This is what I do. So we're going to do it. we don't want to keep this in the background any longer. We want to share this with as many people as possible.
Right.
And we want to help you make people matter. So what Martina and I have done is we have partnered together to be able to bring this initiative out to all of you. And we want to extend a special invitation to you because on Friday, we're going to host a workshop that you'll be able to attend. And if you want that information, Martina's going to tell you how to get it here in just a second. This master class that we're calling it is going to be something where you're going to learn how to be able to do exactly what we're talking about, what my wife Karen and I have been doing for the last almost 13 years, what Martina has been engaged in now for a few months, as her and I have been working together in the background. We want to present it to you. We want to give it to you. We want you to know what we know so that you can start utilizing this for yourself, personally, professionally, however you want to use it. It is a total game changer, for lack of a better word, and truly does make a difference in helping make people matter. And we are at a point, as I said earlier, in our lives, in society, where that has to become the mission. It is a mission for us. It is a mission for, many, many others that we have partnered with across the globe. In helping make people matter. It is more important than ever. And we want you to join us, and we want you to be able to do the same.
Absolutely. Just even thinking about the relationships within my own home and how I look at my kids differently. So this is not, a masterclass that's just going to talk with you about business. We're talking about personal relationships as well. Being able to better understand my children, my grown child, my grown children, as well as my direction, that we really want you guys to open up your minds and invest in yourself first, by joining us on this free masterclass. It again will be Friday. If you drop a comment below, to indicate that you would like access to that masterclass on Friday, then we will give you all of the details. But again, it's not just about business. It's about, your personal relationships as well. But in my opinion, it's more important that you learn about yourself first. And this will give you that, because once you know you, then you will be able to better understand other people. And that has been my own personal testimony. I've been on this journey for quite some time to self-discovery. And then now to be able to watch the engagement between my kids is truly amazing, as well as even some of, my client base and how I've been starting to, look outward now that I have a better understanding for myself. So again, drop your comment, below that you would like to get access, please. Okay, we'll run with that one, Dr. Regina. Masterclass, please. Go ahead and drop the comment, masterclass, please. And we will be sure to give you that information to respond, to you directly in the comments. So again, we're streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Twitter's changed up their situation just a little bit. So I know the algorithm is always changing. Again, that's why you want to be plugged into your people, so you never have to worry about social media dictating, who and how you actually engage with your people. But drop the comment below, masterclass, please, and we'll be sure to get that information to you. What's going on, Vanessa, out of Maryland? I do believe it's so good to see you on the live with us today. Dr. Regina, Deborah Johnson, and so many of you that are catching the replay as well. Even as we continue to re-air this and allow it to run, drop your comment, masterclass, please, and we will be sure to comment to you and give you access to the masterclass on Friday. Is there anything else that you want to discuss, David, before we close out?
Yeah, the last thing I would say is that this is, I think, super important, for all the reasons that we've already mentioned. So I invite all of you who have already commented masterclass to share this with people that you think could benefit from this information, that you think could really be a partner in helping make people matter, because it's that important. It is really that important. And it's free to attend this masterclass. We're not charging anybody a cent to be able to attend it. And as Martina said, the very least that you're going to get out of it is you're going to learn about you first and foremost. And I think the most that you would get out of it is the opportunity to learn how you can join this movement to help make people matter. And it's a global movement that we're a part of, to really make a difference in the world today. So please share this with anybody and everybody that you think would benefit from the information, learning about this. And I just look forward to seeing everybody in 2 days. So not too long from now. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is one of the most enjoyable things that I get to do as a coach. As a pastor, it's one of the most enjoyable things I get to do when I get to share this information with people and kind of walk them through what these lenses look like when we look through them, as Martina has discovered for herself. And it's going to be a really great time. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. Martina, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today. I always value our time together. Certainly love being here and being able to speak with everyone, and am super excited about Friday.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you for always investing in me, investing in yourself first, and then investing in me so that I can grow and scale and become better. And you're quite welcome, Dr. Regina. Once we hit you with the actual masterclass access, we'll give you all the details for Friday, and we will ensure that you have everything that you need to be on the class with us. And even if we allow a replay, to get the replay. So thank you again for your time. Those of you that are catching the replay, you're still available to drop masterclass, please. Up until the time that we actually launch, we'll ensure that you get access. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you again, David.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Blessings, everyone.